Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Host Plus Sustained Performer, where each week we delve into what makes a team or player a proven sustained performer week in, week out. Once again, Mitch Cleary is with me. Welcome.
Thank you, Nat. Looking forward to today's topic.
Yes, today we are going to explore what it takes for a team to be at the top of their game for a long period of time. The Brisbane Lions, well, they're looking for a 2020 fairy tale. In the top four, they've won 4 straight. The grand final is at the Gabba. The question is, though, Mitch, do they have the makings of a premiership team?
Absolutely they do, and they're not going to get many better chances than they are right now. Everything is aligned for them for the grand final and the final series to be in their own backyard. We saw last year the young core of that team that went out in straight sets. They're all another year older, so the pressure is on now for the Lions. I think they're up to it. We heard Chris Fagan say this week they're not a one-man team without Harris Andrews, so the pressure is on those other players to stand up in his absence.
So much has to go right, doesn't it, to win a premiership? But there was one Lions team that did it not once, not twice, but an incredible 3 times in a row. There are some characteristics and intangibles that really defined that team from 2001 to 2003. They were tough, uncompromising, and really played that unsociable footy.
You speak to any player that played against this side in that era, and they dreaded playing against this team. They was those hard, tough guys, as you mentioned, and we saw this year, stars on every line. Simon Black and Jonathan Brown became the 4th and 5th members of the Australian Football Hall of Fame from that team alone.
Incredible.
And they all speak so highly of Leigh Matthews. He in his own right was that uncompromising style as a player and then coach. He won the flag at Collingwood and then came across to the Lions for the three-peat. And they all live by that mantra that he started at the Lions, Leigh Matthews, and that was, if it bleeds, we can kill it. And that's what I think they live by.
I love that. You mentioned Simon Black, and when you do think of that Lions three-peat side, automatically the Fab Four, or even some might say the Fab Five, that pops into your mind. So Black, Voss, Acker, Lapp, and you throw in Luke Power and Shaun Hart into the mix as well. It really was a formidable midfield. We fast forward to today. We've got the Brownlow favourite in Lachie Neale. Does he fit comfortably into a conversation with those guys?
I think he's the one that walks straight into that team, into that 4 or even 5 or 6. I think he's the one that wouldn't look out of place at all. I think he's just now looking to see those guys that are going to come along for the ride with him. So Jared Berry, Hugh McCluggage, they're 22, going on 23. These guys are the ones that are going to step up and drive this Lions team forward. You talk about what they need else in this side. We'll get to the key forwards in a moment. But that other superstar midfielder to join Lachie Neale is maybe something that they'd love to get their hands on in the next couple of drafts or even trade period. Dane Zorko, 31, Jared Lyons, 28. These guys are going to need to be replaced when these other young guys are coming through. So that's maybe something for them to target.
Let's get on to that forward line, because there were some very powerful key forwards in that attack back in the three-peat years. That's where the bulk of their goals came from in their premiership years. Alistair Lynch, he was the stalwart. John O'Brien was just starting his career, wasn't he? And Daniel Bradshaw was also a key target up there. It's fair to say the Lions of today are really crying out for a key forward to stand up and just tear apart a game.
Oh, how much would they love a third tall right now like Daniel Bradshaw in that team? Eric Hipwood, he's 22, he's about to turn 23. He's shown that glimpses, but we're just looking for some consistency, and I think that's why they've been linked with, or were linked with Charlie Dixon before he re-signed at Port Adelaide. Joe Danaher, they're going to monitor his situation. They'd love to get their hands on another key forward to take the pressure off Eric Hipwood and Dan McStay, and then allow Charlie Cameron just to run about and do what he does best.
Yeah, you can't really rely on Charlie Cameron for everything, can you? Harris Andrews is so crucial to the Lions' success this year. I know that Chris Fagan has said they're not a one-man band, but all of a sudden they do find themselves without him for about 5 to 6 weeks. Can you see them winning a flag without him?
It's going to be a tough ask, and if any medical team can get him back, it's the Lions. They've had such a great track record in getting these guys back. We're going to see him have to play, the Lions have to play against teams with Charlie Dixon, Tom Lynch, Tom Hawkins in the finals. So without Harris Andrews, it's going to be a tough ask.
We love this notion of a premiership window, and the Lions, it's certainly open, but how far off a flag do you think this current crop is?
If it's not this year, it's definitely next and the years later. This young core is so good, and they're only going to continue to get better. We've mentioned McCluggage, Berry, Zach Bailey's another guy that can't be forgotten. Cam Rayner's a #1 pick. His tank is only continuing to rise, and that they've got 2 first-round picks in this year's NAB AFL draft. So exciting times to be a Lions fan.
Plenty of potential. Mitch, thank you. If you want to join in the conversation, you can do so on the AFL social channels. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again next week with another episode of The Sustained Performer. Thanks to Host Plus, we go with you.